Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk Business South Carolina. I'm your host, Rick Jenkins. Appreciate you being here, and it's time for our next guest. And our next guest today is Travis Seward. Travis is the Chief of Staff at EVG Media. EVG specializes in content solutions and content licensing and a bunch of other things as well. But they do work globally, but headquartered right here in good old Greenville. Travis, welcome.
Hey there, Rick. Great to be back.
It is good to have you back. Travis has been with us a few times. He pops in from time to time, and so it's always good to have you here. And before we get into business talk for today, let's just talk about EVG a bit. And every time you hear, I always ask, but I just want to make sure that our viewers and our listeners are well aware of who you are and what you do.
So EVG Media has a full-service media company. We focus primarily on our content studio, where we create content for major brands and publications. It can be high-end journalism. It can be social posts, as well as blog posts, or even sponsored or paid content on your behalf. And then we also have a licensing department where we represent about 75 different brands with about 150 publications. And with those publications, we handle their awards and accolade licensing. So when they have given somebody earned media where they're talking about them, we go out and sell that asset to the brand to use in their marketing.
Right. And I want to get all into earned media here in a minute. I did not even know that term until you introduced it to me here a while back. I knew what it was, but I didn't understand that term described it. But let's get back to that in a second.
Okay.
You also have huge, globally known brands. You work with some really big businesses, the biggest of which I think is probably Google. Yes,
yep, absolutely. We do work for Google. We're one of the only companies that produces content outside of Google for Google. We also work with core hotel chains, WICA, the placement agency. We work for several other publications like America's Test Kitchen, Newsweek, USA Today. All of those people are clients of ours.
I think people have heard of those guys.
I think so.
You know, every time we get together and talk, I'm always reminded and surprised when I hear how many contracted writers you all have stretched across the world. I think it's like 600 or 700 folks that you all can get on the phone and call and say, hey, I want you to write some content for me. And the cool thing is they speak all kinds of different languages.
They speak different languages. They speak different trade and industry expertise. If you have a need, there is probably somebody in our content pool that can help you out, and we can create that content for you.
Not only can they write in the language that you need, but as you said, they have that lingo. And sometimes you have to familiarize yourself with the lingo of the industry that you're doing business with, but these folks don't because they live it, they know it.
They live it, yep. That way we can produce stuff really quickly, on point, and accurately.
Right. Let's talk about earned media. But let's start with owned media.
Okay.
Is that what we call it?
Sure.
Owned and earned.
Yep. So owned media is the media that we create. I spent 23 years of my career working for USA Today's 10 Best, creating travel content.
Yes.
We owned that content. And what we chose to promote was created by our staff with our expertise. And nobody paid to play to be included in that. It's
so
journalism.
Owned is pretty simple. It's anything that you produce yourself, you own it, of course, right?
Yep.
That's the logic in owned media.
Absolutely.
Earned media, again, like I said a little bit ago, I had never heard earned tied to it. I'm sure there are all kinds of marketers out there saying, well, Rick, you're stupid. You know, that, of course, that's what it means. But I did not know it. I did not know it. But earned media is content that someone else produces about you or for you on your behalf?
Correct. So think traditionally probably a PR role. That was the person within your company that went out and formed these relationships with influencers, handled the word of mouth, the social promotion, and got your story told or picked up by other publications. And excuse me. And today, there are lots of publications that are out there doing independent reviews, using data to find the best solution for a certain problem. And all of that is when they take your product, your expertise, and they promote it and they recognize it, then they promote it in a story, a list, or an award. So you've earned that because it's the opinion of somebody else who's an expert, whether they're an influencer or a major publication.
So would this video and this podcast and this content that is being produced right now, is that earned media for EVG?
So earned media for, yes, who you choose to pick as your guest and to highlight what they're doing in our community.
Right.
That's all earned.
Right. From your perspective, it's owned from my perspective.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's it.
Have I got that right?
You got it.
Okay.
It's not too hard.
Yeah. So tell me the importance. I mean, the more I think about it, earned media is more valuable, I would assume, in many ways than owned media, because it's other folks talking about you that can bring their legitimacy and their brand to you.
Exactly. So when you're doing something great and you're being recognized for that, whether it is a smart home thermostat that you've built and a tech reviewer thinks it's the greatest thing that's come out this year, a new cooktop, a TV, or even like just the most loved workplace that Newsweek promotes, that is allowing you to take advantage of the audience of those brands, and those brands are recognizing you as a leader and a great product, a great source to their audience. So it's something you could never pay for on your own.
Right, of course. And how do you leverage it? Somebody says something, a story comes out, maybe somebody says something in LinkedIn. Of course, you leverage that by just reposting it and sharing it. But just generally speaking, I would think that you want to jump on that real quick, right?
Absolutely. So your social media example, definitely it's your tribe, it's your peers, it's people. You want to promote that. You want to build those legitimate friendships and support each other in the social post. But when you're talking about like an award or an accolade, we just got back from Berlin where we went to the Consumer Electronics Show called IFA. We represented 22 publishers and handed out 170 awards to top leading products in the world. And when we were talking to those brands, whether it was Blue Eddy that did a generator or Samsung who had a great TV or somebody else who had an awesome cooktop, we work with them to say, what is your marketing needs? How do you want to use this to differentiate yourself in the marketplace? Whether it's in your email signatures to say, we've been recognized by these awesome brands on social media, and use the Newsweek logo as a most loved workplace. All of that carries clout and legitimacy, and it also gets eyeballs when you're scrolling through that social media. It could also be on your packaging. So if you have a consumer good and you're in the storeroom on the shelves of a store, when you're going to pick one TV over the other, pick the one with the badge that's been tested by an expert and recommended.
Travis, you're talking about making sure that people are aware of the accolades you might receive, and not be scared to tell people about those. Sometimes we're hesitant to do that. We shouldn't be hesitant about it, right? I mean, you should put those in your email sigs or whatever. You should toot your own horn.
Absolutely, and you should be willing to pay a licensing fee to use that brand's logo or quote or review in all of your materials, because it will really differentiate you, whether it's in your email signature, on your social channels, reprinted in advertising, marketing, billboards. Yeah. We even had a company wrap their bus in a 10 Best logo to say that they were the best casino outside of Las Vegas.
Right. I love that. And so, one thing that comes to mind, if you are a best place to work or a most loved place, you got to really take advantage of that.
Absolutely. It's really hard in today's market to find quality employees. And with Newsweek's Most Loved Workplace program, those are actual surveys of people who have worked in those offices and for those companies. And so when you're out recruiting, why wouldn't you want to say, I was one of Newsweek's most loved workplaces? It really does hold a lot of clout.
Right. Travis, as always, good stuff, my friend.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here.
Great to see you.
Folks, that is Travis Seward. He is the Chief of Staff at EVG Media, a content solutions provider, doing business all over the world, but headquartered right here in Greenville, South Carolina. We're going to take a quick break, 60 seconds, that's all, and we'll be right back, so don't go anywhere. And we'll come back with our featured guest, Dave Edwards, the CEO at GSP International Airport.